Now to an I-Team exclusive, a continuing investigation into one of the nation's fastest growing megachurches, the Elevation Church. I-Team reporter Stuart Watson is digging into how author and pastor Stephen Furtick has gotten a boost in profitable book sales thanks to his place on a nonprofit pulpit. That story, all new tonight.
Stephen Furtick's newest book is called Crash the Chatterbox. It's in bookstores next week, but the publisher is pre-selling this book right now with a buy one, get one free offer. The timing of the offer gives the book a shot at getting on the New York Times bestseller list.
The book's called Crash the Chatterbox.
Stephen Furtick has repeatedly promoted himself as a New York Times best-selling author.
The book is called Greater.
Furtick's earlier book, Greater, was number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list for advice books for the week of September 23rd, 2012.
Puts you on a list, not the main list. There are lots of little lists. So you appear on that, and you are, for the rest of your life, a best-selling author.
James Duncan is an assistant professor of communications at Anderson University. He blogged how Stephen Furtick plans to crash the cash box.
You get as many people as possible to buy your book in the first week. And that gets reported to the New York Times, that then reports that you're a best-selling author.
Nielsen's book scan tracks retail sales of books at most but not all bookstores. It reports Greater has sold a total of 26,000 copies as of this week. That may not include church sales, but Furtick didn't have to sell millions of books to make the New York Times bestseller list. So even though Greater only made the list 1 week, never to appear again, that was enough for Furtick to call himself a best-selling author.
On your brag list, it looks very good. Or your resume.
Sally Brewster runs Park Road Books in Charlotte and reports weekly sales to the New York Times.
Almost all the mega churches, their pastors tend to have books.
The New York Times listed Greater with a small dagger beside it. That dagger indicates that some retail bookstores included bulk sales of the book. Why does the Times note that?
Because they don't want to wait the list, so they don't want any manipulation, so they don't want guarantees that I can buy my way onto the list.
But you can still buy your way onto the list.
You can always manipulate, yes. Probably won't be there long.
So when Furtick's publisher, Waterbrook Multnomah, a division of Random House, offers buy one, get one free before the new book even hits the stores, it hopes to sell more books all at once and increase the chances that the book will make it to the Times bestseller list.
So you got this explosion of sales, and it looks like this is the most amazing book.
You're saying he figured out how to game the system.
Totally, they game the system.
It's about dreaming bigger.
And preachers aren't the only ones to figure this out.
People in the publishing world know it's a game.
But more popular preachers don't have to play this game. If you're Billy Graham or Joel Osteen, do you have to do this?
No.
Elevation Chief Financial Officer Chunks Corbett emailed us a statement saying Furtick's selling the book through the church at his author's discount, so the church can make money and Furtick himself makes no additional money on those sales. Quote, "We make no effort to achieve New York Times bestseller list status with this or any previous book by Pastor Stephen. While there are book marketing firms that for a fee do utilize strategies for landing on this list, we've never employed such firms or strategies. If we were concerned with the NYT bestseller status, we would simply urge our own people to go purchase the book at their local bookseller, since those sales would count to the New York Times system. And the New York Times bestseller label can mean more money in book sales and speaking fees."
Even if it's a one-sentence summary, that's what we know about them. So it gives them credibility. Whether or not you can interpret the Bible correctly doesn't matter so much as whether the New York Times puts you on their list.
And Furtick told his own congregation that payment from his books alone were enough to pay for his new $1.7 million mansion. But he refuses to release any numbers, and Elevation Church isn't releasing them either. Stuart Watson, NBC Charlotte.